Hello friends. Opinion article. Declassification option. Created a declassification board. Revealing secrets is from the Aquarian age. Objective: expose the orcs of the swamp. The president says that we are very close. General Flynn confronted the advisors. Rudy Giuliani is under federal investigation. The Pope can resign after Christmas. Pelosi wants to get Trump out by dragging him by the hair. Trump asks for stimulus checks for $2,000. The president hides in silence and prepares for something. No one really knows who is behind the great cyber attack. Mexico employs restaurants to force the citizen to wear the masks. BBC Guide to Speaking with Contempt of Conspirators. Let's start. After speculating on various alternatives of a supposedly cornered president, we already have a clue as to where the shots from his defense are going. He has decided to resort to the declassification option advised by the allies in order to expose his enemies. Declassification means lifting the secret or reserved nature of a document that could compromise many actors. Also, revealing hidden secrets is part of the spirit of the Aquarian age in which we are already immersed. The president appears to have chosen the declassification option to expose the orcs of the swamp, which would not preclude the application of the insurrection law. But now, InfoWars says that the president has been totally abandoned by almost all the White House staff. Is there anyone left to comply with the declassification orders? There are rumors that the president will speak to the people on Christmas Day. Ezra Cohen-Watnick has been appointed as chairman of the Public Interests Declassification Board, which is responsible for deciding which documents are declassified. Watnick is known to be an ally of General Michael Flynn. Patrick Byrne reveals that the president is just one firm away from unleashing a powerful solution. The president meets with several members of Congress to discuss a solution on January 6. Giuliani says there is a big reveal about Georgia in the works. Tense calm. The calm before the storm, or the anxiety before the final battle, refers to a period of relative calm or relaxation before a time of intense activity or fuss. This stage of activity can be viewed as something positive, such as the time before a wave of business for a company, or as something negative, such as waiting for the influx of patients in a hospital after a disaster. The calm before the battle is the worst. Nothing happens, but at any moment disaster or victory comes. If the enemy troops are well prepared after a reorganization, try to disrupt them. If they are united, sowing dissension among their ranks, attack the enemy when they are not ready, and appear when they are not expecting you. These are the keys to victory for any strategist. Legal actions. The president has signed a new memorandum to allow John Durham and any new special counsel to use classified documents with juries to seek new criminal charges against Trump actors. This order would also apply to Sidney Powell if she is appointed a special prosecutor in the next few days. Executive order on Spygate. The White House signed an order on December 18th granting John Durham the authority to present classified information to a jury investigating the hoax of the Russian conniving. The other removes the ability of the CIA or other intelligence community agencies to exercise a veto. Prosecutor Duham presents evidence. The report states that during the conflict period, the Department of Justice was being used as a political weapon by a group of people who used the lie of the conspiracy with Russia in an attempt to overthrow the president. Trump assured that his campaign efforts are progressing. Actually, we are very close. Fake news won't tell you that. They are trying to suppress it. However, we are getting closer. White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows spoke after the meeting and said the president was preparing to strike back. News mosaic. A mosaic of news. There are days when the title of an article arrives alone and without effort, but there are other days, like today, where it must be searched in a troubled river of news that seems to be rumors and of administrative silence of the great patriot titan, which seems to be hidden in stealth, like a ninja warriors hiding in the shadows, who seems to be preparing for something great. This looks like the hangover from the great conjunction feast of the Aquarian age, the dark night of the soul that precedes enlightenment, or the moment when armies anxiously prepare for the great final battle while sharpening their weapons. The two good news of the day is that it appears that an increase in stimulus checks to $2,000 per citizen is being negotiated instead of the ridiculous $600, and that Vice President Mike Pence seems to have all the tricks to change the result of the election. But I have never trusted this strange man who does not reflect in the mirror like vampires, and I hope I am wrong. Pence may save presidency. A White House memo detailing how Vice President Mike Pence is legally bound to reject electoral college votes from the disputed state, but Pence is not due to act later than Wednesday, December 23. Bad news. The bad news of the day is that President Rudy Giuliani's lawyer is now under federal investigation, which could put him out of business unless the president grants him an amnesty, a pardon. It seems that the situation is complicated in some respects. Rudy Giuliani under federal investigation. It is finished unless pardoned. Federal prosecutors have discussed making a legal request for Rudy Giuliani's electronic communication as part of an investigation into his business in Ukraine. Two sources familiar with the investigation told NBC News. The most violent comment is that Nancy Pelosi wants to remove Trump from the White House by dragging him by the hair of her long blonde hair. But extremist actor Alec Baldwin went further than Pelosi in a tweet when he called for violent punishment for the president if he refuses to budge. A knee to his neck, cutting off his oxygen until he can't breathe. In Dutch. The most shocking rumor is that it appears that Pope Francis may resign after Christmas, according to Vatican sources. I see him defeated by the coalition. The most striking rumor was that General Flynn stood up and faced the president's defeatist advisory team at the White House. The strangest news is that no one knows who really is behind this big cyber attack, even though China, Iran, or even the deep state of Russia has been blamed, but neither does an inside job against the president be ruled out. Nobody knows anything. The lawyer Lin Wood does not beat around the bush when he says the US is at war against globalists of China who have infiltrated the ideology of corruption with Chinese money, and that if the US loses its freedom, the people of the whole world will lose their hope. A strange democratic memorandum claims that the white Christian nationalism is a threat to national security. What we needed to hear to discriminate against Christians. The war of the Democrats against the religious protections and guarantees for Christmas at the First Amendment of the Constitution begins again. Controversy. According to explosive revelations, General Michael Flynn stood up during an explosive meeting in the Oval Office and called the president's advisory team negative, encouraging him to accept defeat. The revelations came from Overstock founder Patrick Byrne, who was at the meeting. In dots, General Flynn stood up in a calm, measured and professional manner and asked chivalry, "Do you think the president won? Can you say you think the president won?" Nobody answered. People talk about martial law like it's something we have never done, Flynn told Newsmax last week. Martial law has been instituted 64 times in history of the United States, he said. Summary. Update on the situation according to Mike Adams. First, we live in a world occupied by globalist forces controlled by China. Second, a rumor claims that Biden was releasing on January 1st, but without this rumor. Third, Mark Meadows confirms that Trump is fighting and does not grant the election. Fourth, a letter from Oath Keepers demands that the president take action to defend the republic. Fifth, William Barr claims that there is no basis for examining voting machines. 6. William Barr was exposed as Trump's labor cell agent. 7th, the intelligence community continues to delay the Ratcliffe report. 8th, Georgia senators conclude that coordinated illegal activities were carried out to manipulate the outcome. Short news. Pope may resign after Christmas. Pope Francis will resign before the end of the year, according to a source close to the Vatican, who said that without doubt the pontiff will resign in 2020. Nancy Pelosi suffers a fit of anger. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi had a bad psychotic breakdown over the weekend while negotiating stimulus relief with Congress. The spokeswoman completely lost her self-control as she spoke of the president. In dots. "I am counting the hours until he leaves," Pelosi told her team. "I plan to get him out of there because of his hair, her little hands, and her feet," she said. Trump is asking for $2,000 stimulus checks, hinting that he might not sign a relief bill unchanged, so it has been returned into Congress, which passed it Monday night. The president criticized the $600 stimulus checks from the aid bill, an idea that came from his Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin. Mexico employs wrestlers to force masks to wear. health authorities in Irapuato, central Mexico, took this advice to the extreme, deploying a gang of wrestlers to enforce the public use of masks. BBC's guide to speaking of disdain for conspiracy relatives. The BBC has published a 5-point guide on how to talk to conspiracy theorists during the Christmas holiday, giving readers advice of how to discard points of alternative views rather than questioning and discussing them. Largest scandal at West Point Military Academy in 44 years. More than 70 cadets accused of cheating. Due to the health crisis, cadets have had to study remotely, and many are believed to have cheated during an exam online. A total of 73 cadets from the prestigious West Point Military Academy, where they are trained to become army officers, faced accusations of cheating in an online calculus test taken in May this year as part of their distance studies at cause of the health crisis. Lieutenant Colonel Christopher Ofdar, a spokesman for the Academy, reported Monday. U.S. nuclear submarine crosses the Strait of Hormuz in a gesture of defiance to Iran. Last Monday, the U.S. Navy announced on his Twitter account that his nuclear-powered submarine USS Georgia has passed through the Strait from Hormuz, off the coast of Iran, highlighting the ability of the fleet to operate where permitted by international law. A destroyer approaches the Spratly Islands in the South China Sea to defend free navigation. The warship moved away after receiving a warning of the People's Liberation Army, according to the Chinese military. The destroyer USS John D. McCain passed near the Spratly Islands in the disputed South China Sea on Tuesday to reaffirm the right to free navigation and challenge the restrictions on an ocean passage imposed by China, Vietnam and Taiwan. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.